Welcome in to the Petrol Heads podcast.
Hello.
That was my co-host, Dave Diekman, and I am his co-host, Jason Reynolds. How was your week, Dave?
It's good. Good, busy, productive week.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah. Pretty much the same. Yeah. Kind of flew by. Just doing a lot of work for around the house, preparing for this as well, trying to do some research. Got to read some interesting stories, doing the research on this. So, but yeah, no, just doing the old grind,
Yeah.
Building up for a nice weekend. We're going to have another crazy one again. Got a race on a little early this time. A little earlier.
A little night race action.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
I have to wake up early and watch it first thing. So, speaking of that race, that's what we're doing here today, folks. We're covering a preview and our predictions of the 2024 Singapore Grand Prix. We're going to touch on some notes here. Some news here first. Not a lot, but Sauber has come out saying that they're going to make a call on the second driver in a matter of weeks, quote unquote. But there is some positivity that Bottas is on the top of their list. So, but I don't know. That could go either way. I think that's a positive, but
it'd be a smart move for them, just for experience wise.
I don't think you could go wrong.
No.
The sad news is it's starting to sound like Daniel Ricciardo is not gonna be on the grid next year.
The rumor mill's going crazy.
Yeah, they're trying. Like, some are saying, like, it's basically like, perform this race or you're not finishing out the year.
That's what I've been reading too, that this is potentially his last race,
which is kind of harsh because I don't feel like he's been underperforming. It's just that car's been crap. It's just a piece of junk, and I don't know, man. I'm gonna miss Daniel if he goes.
Talk about somebody who fell off the cliff fast. I just don't think that what he had is there anymore, or maybe mentally he's just in a different headspace and just not fully 100% committed like that you need to be.
I don't know. I mean, maybe he's not aged quite as well as some of the other guys that are older. Maybe that's because he doesn't take as good a care of himself. Not saying he does, but just hypothetically, maybe those are. I feel like he never got his mojo back. Leaving Red Bull the way he did. I understood why he did it. He's fed up and didn't want to be a number 2 driver, and I don't think he deserved to be at that time. He was outperforming Max a lot of times and winning races, but he took a chance and just didn't really work out anywhere he went. So I don't know.
Kind of sounds like a little bit of a Fernando case, everywhere he went, he was just couldn't succeed like he wanted to. It seemed like everywhere he went was a bad decision.
Yeah, maybe the great Fernando isn't the greatest of car developers, as they claim he is.
Still hell of a driver.
Yeah, he's all right, But I don't know. I hope the best for Daniel. I was kind of thinking that there was a possibility maybe he could find himself in the Red Bull seat, replacing Perez next year, and then Liam Lawson will come in. But I don't know. Maybe it's still a possibility. Maybe if Perez really just shits the bed the rest of the year.
If they don't drop him, they're not going to pay that much for a reserve driver.
Yeah. No, probably not. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But on to the race review preview. We got another street circuit here, back to back after Baku. Although some call this one the most physically demanding race on the F1 calendar.
It's going to be hot. It's going to be humid.
Yeah. They say drivers can lose up to 8 to 10 pounds in a race just from fluids. It's so humid there. But
yeah, with some of the, you don't really have a break around that track either, so it's just one turn after another.
Yeah, I mean, it's because, there's not really any runoffs, so it's pretty unforgiving, but I think it's a lot like Monaco, but I guess you just get a little bit better weather conditions at Monaco.
Yeah. This track configuration, though, I think is the best one that they've had. They've, since they started, I think, they've gone through a couple iterations, and this is the best one, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for these cars and their speed and how big they are, this is definitely helps out a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of configuration too, they added a fourth DRS detection, a DRS zone. So it will go off of the same detection zone as the third section DRS. So if you get it there, it cuts off, you go through turn 14, and then it comes back on and you go down to 15, 16, I think, roughly. So hopefully that'll encourage some more passing. So
I see a lot of dive bomb moves coming out of the third DRS, and
maybe.
Because now they can use it to pull a little gap. On the next one. So
so that'll be hopefully a good race, but I don't expect a whole lot of passing. I don't know. 2023 apparently had 85 overtakes. So but that race had, I don't know, 2 or 3 safety cars too. So that could, and then I don't know. When I look at that stat, do you go, well, it's like you probably count everyone passing George Russell with George, with George Russell. Cause technically those aren't really overtakes, but I guess they are on paper. So
do an over under 50.
Maybe. Because I don't know. I would say over probably because I still think you're going to see some wrecks.
Yeah,
but
somebody's going to throw into the wall.
Probably a couple. That is a. They have it's 100% record for safety cars. Every single race there has had at least one safety car.
Well, with Kevin coming back now, and he's pissed off. He's going to be.
I saw that.
Somebody
too.
gives him like a sniff. Of competition. He's just going
to. Apparently, he's coming to raise hell.
Fresh point or fresh slate. 0 points.
He's about to earn all 12 of them in one race.
Like, let's get this party going again.
Please, hopefully he qualifies at the back. We don't want to see him. I don't know. Maybe even as a back marker. Hey man, take Max out for Orlando. We need a new champion.
Hold him up.
I don't know. We'll see. But the track, it's all about low speed, having decent turn in without losing the rear. A lot of drivers talk about that it's high downforce, setup, right? Where a lot different than Baku, where they need all the grip they can get here. So this will be the first Grand Prix was in 2008 here. Were you watching F1 back then?
Mm-hmm.
That long ago?
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't. It was all pretty much NASCAR with my family.
First night race ever on the calendar at that time.
Oh yeah, too. Yeah. And I guess F1 I still don't think that was very big over here in those days. You were probably one of the more rarer fans over here. That race definitely did not go without its own spiciness. That was where they have the so-called crash gate.
Yeah, remember it well.
Dirty ass Alonso. Yeah, so it was, just to touch on it a little bit. So Alonso and Nelson Piquet Jr. were both Renault drivers at the time. I guess Alonso didn't have a great qualifying, and they pitted him early, and then Nelson Piquet magically crashes. Alonso goes on to win the race. And then Piquet was then later on let go middle of the year 2009. And then a few weeks later, he comes out and he's like, yeah, they told me to crash. So, and they, after all the review, they found them guilty.
And now Massa wants back pay for that potential championship loss. Like he's looking for some monetary.
Well, yeah, because he was the one he was unfortunately hurt by that.
Yeah, because he was in the title race. Yeah,
yeah, because he was leading the race when that happened.
Yeah.
So it was the So the Renault got handed a disqualification from Formula One. Was suspended for 2 years. Like that was what I thought was wild. I was like, so they. Because when I remember I was looking through Fernando's driving history and I was like, oh, he was at Renault and then left Renault, then was back. And I think it was around that time. But so like, did they just not race in F1 for those couple years?
I think they rebranded.
Oh yeah, I think that's what happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you just changed the name and
because it was like two guys. So the team's managing director and director of engineering left the team, and apparently they were not. They basically were told, "Don't ever come back because you will not be welcome."
Yeah.
So,
but I
pretty
think,
wild. They did not play around with that.
I think it's Pat Simmons was one of them, but I think now he's back in a consultant role now. Yeah. So he's not. At every Grand Prix, but he's in the background saying, do this, do that, and look at this.
We'll have to. I think we'll do an episode on that. Maybe in the maybe this entire one of the weeks in this entire October that we're basically going without racing. Another 4 weeks.
Another
fall break or something. What are you doing to us, F1? Killing us here. You could have maybe split this back to back up, just push Singapore a week or two just to give us a little something. But, again, hopefully in for an exciting race. Looking back at last year's, this was actually this broke Red Bull's tear of 15 winning races in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Sainz come out and win. The Red Bull just was not good there at all. That even then, last year when their car was so dominant. Lewis has the lap record there from last year. It was definitely a spicy race there at the end. Sainz did an incredible job keeping Norris and DRS to help, to keep then at the time Russell from overtaking Russell and Hamilton, because they had pitted early, was on a different strategy, or had pitted late. They did an extra pit stop, and then Russell bent it on the last lap. Classic George Russell. So Lewis went on to get on the podium.
Every time he comes to that turn, he's going to be taking a wide. I'm not hitting that shit again.
No, yeah. Hopefully he hasn't done anything in practice already. But no, it was a good race. Really good job by Sainz. One of Sainz's best races I've seen probably ever. So seems like he's pretty decent around here. So hopefully we get a good show. We'll move on to, looking at some storylines heading into the weekend. Kind of looking like right now, based off of Baku, that it's going to be McLaren versus Ferrari. Ferrari's bringing some upgrades. So we'll see if they're even more competitive, or I still think the McLaren's probably got the overall better car still. But we'll see. What do you think? Who you think is going to be faster of those two?
I'm going Ferrari.
Think?
Yeah, I think just their low speed balances not light years ahead of McLaren, but definitely better.
Yeah.
Whereas McLaren's probably a little bit easier on their tires. Ferrari just they've always run good here.
They seem to, yeah.
And if you look back at Azerbaijan, I mean, they were right there. I think if Charles had some clean air, he would have been gone.
I'd like to see that comparison because it almost felt like on the medium tire, the Ferrari was the faster car, and on the hard tire, I think the McLaren was the faster car. I think I don't know, because some people think that Piastri was so. I don't want to say some people. It was British. I heard it on Sky Sports podcast. Damon Hill was talking about he thinks that Piastri could have taken off, but chose to kind of keep his pace down and stay close to Leclerc to manage his tires, and then hurts Leclerc's, keeping him in the dirty air. But I don't know. I still kind of think if he had the pace to just romp off, he would have.
Yeah, I mean, it's why do you want to stick around and be defensive? For 30 laps. It's like
I still because I think that Norris was still the fastest guy on that day, so I still think McLaren car maybe has the edge. I think like pure race pace. I think if he'd have been in front, he'd have been gone. But we won't ever know.
Nope.
But Red Bull looking rough, and then this is a track that they really struggled with last year. So do you think that they'll be able to bounce back at all? Do you think they'll?
Both cars, no. Yeah. One car, yes. I think it'll be
which car though?
Lessons learned from last year and how much of a disaster that was, and then also lessons from last week's Grand Prix. I think that'll translate well over to this weekend, that they can get back on the right foot, get back in the championship hunt, Constructors Championship. That's a big motivation for the team. They see that and they're like, we can't have this anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, after dominating 2 years, they've always been at the top. That's a hard pill to swallow, is seeing your rivals overtake you.
Yeah. I don't know. I think they've been relegated to best of Formula 1B, especially here. Maybe they'll bounce back at Austin, but I think that they're going to have a bad weekend. Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty rough. I don't know. It's starting to kind of look like it's going to be McLaren versus Ferrari, and then I think Red Bull and Mercedes, Red Bull versus Mercedes, and then Aston Martin by itself, and then the rest. Maybe I do think that Williams is there now and about to be able to compete with Aston Martin.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think Mercedes has enough time to get points to be able to beat Red Bull in the constructors. But I think pace wise, it's kind of relegated to that now.
Yeah.
So maybe you could call it Formula 1A, Formula 1B, and then Formula 1C. I don't know. We'll see. But and we touched on Magnussen being back. So that'll be interesting. Who do you think? So out of Formula 1B, we'll call it right now. Who do you think's gonna be good, and who do you think's gonna be a flop?
Flop. Got to go with kick.
I mean, I feel like that's an easy way.
Yeah.
They're going to be really bad.
But, if you kind of just put them to the side, I think Alpine will be nowhere this weekend. As far as best of the rest, I'm going to have to give the nod to Williams because I think they're kind of on a high, Both points finished last week. I haven't had that in a while, so their confidence is growing every day.
Yeah. And 2 races, Colapinto has quadrupled Logan Sargent's points that
so
he's
we did
ever
touch
gotten.
on it, and we weren't sure. But
so
it is confirmed that.
I put a caption in the video. So Latifi had 7 points during his entire career, and then Logan had 1.
Okay,
and Colapinto already has 4.
So all right. So let's see. It's probably all of 2022 with the end of Latifi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was 21 as well. And he was 2020 through 2022.
Well, just years wise, probably, and then with Logan in all of his years, Luca 2 races has done more than what they've done in the past 3.
Colapinto already with 4. I don't know. I mean, good job, James Vowles. That's I guess all I can say right now. Looking pretty good. So, well, let's move on to our predictions. For anybody who doesn't know, we give our top 3 for. So we have a point system. We're going against each other. Quali, we give our top 3 for quali, our top 3 for race, and now we're going to be giving 2 bold predictions, and they'll either be driver based, team based, or race based, and can't have more than one of the same category. So right now, Dave has a slight lead, 7-9. So I'm looking to bounce back. I need a solid weekend. So I did some homework. So put a lot of effort into this one. I'll start off. I'll give my top 3 for quali. I'll give you my P3 for quali, which I think will be Piastri. I think Piastri, he'll have a pretty good. I think he struggles a little here. All right, last year he got knocked out in Q1. I'm pretty sure, and he had a pretty good race, but looks like he. But I still think the car is quick enough, and he's got some momentum. So I see him in P3 qualifying.
I've got Norris, P3 qualifying.
Okay. And I've got Leclerc, P2.
Verstappen.
Wow.
Comeback weekend.
Wow. That's an interesting one. And then I have Norris for pole.
I'm going to give it to Leclerc.
Yeah. I figured other than the Verstappen one, it's a little not going with your boy Piastri this time. What's up with that? Where do you think he's going to be? P4?
Can't win them all, so you got to give it to somebody else. And I just think that Ferrari is too dominant, or they've got the better car for this track.
We'll see. I think that might still be McLaren. I don't know. It'll be close. But the race, our podium, who you got P3?
Sainz.
Oh, me too. I really, I had written down and changed it at the last minute before I printed off these papers, but I had it as Norris, Leclerc, Sainz. And but I was like, he's not been on the greatest of qualifying forms lately. Not like, when I say that, he's just been a little off, and Leclerc's been hot. Yeah. But I do think he'll get up there in the race. I think Ferrari actually seem to be doing some pretty decent strategy calls lately.
Knock on wood.
So P2.
But if there's a way to mess it up, they will.
Yeah. P2, I've got Leclerc. I think he'll stay in the same place.
I've got Norris.
Run a good race.
Moving up one.
Oh, yeah. Norris moving up. And who you got winning?
Leclerc.
So Leclerc pole and holding on to win.
Holds it. Yep.
I've got Norris holding on to win. I think you're going to see. I'm calling for. I think you'll see something similar to Zandvoort. He's going to take off. And he's going to be gone. He's going to say, "Peace."
We know he's going to screw up the start.
Yeah, it's possible. We've seen some wild starts at Singapore too, so it could be close. So what do you think? So you think Verstappen, do you think something will happen to Verstappen, or just pace-wise he's going to fall off?
Pace-wise, they'll fall off.
Pace.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they've got the quick burst, short pace, good enough for qualifying.
Yeah.
But once you get into the nitty-gritty of it, then he's going to fall off. I'm not saying he's going to be miles away, but definitely out of top 3.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll see. If your qualifying comes to fruition, I could see Leclerc. Like if your top 3's right, it's probably going to be Leclerc just romping off, and Verstappen's going to get in Norris's way, and we might see a little something.
Might get in his way, or he might just accidentally.
Yeah. We'll
Check
see.
him.
It might have some spicy action.
Yeah.
So on to bold predictions. So again, like I told you, we added an extra one here, kind of divided up into categories. I'm giving my first this week, or my first one first, because my other one was robbed last week. But I'm digging deep on this one. This is. So my first one is a team bold prediction, and I think that Williams will outscore Red Bull.
Oof.
The combined Williams drivers will outscore the combined Red Bull drivers.
Okay.
That's what I think.
All right. Well, mine kind of would help yours, but my driver bold prediction is Perez, no points again. I think Perez is just going to be struggle bus all weekend, and he's not going to find a good balance. Normally he is good on street circuits, but I just think he's just going to be, I think top 10 for qualifying, but once you get into continuous laps, he's just going to fall further off the pace and.
Well, I think he's
and be out of it.
He is not going to be as good at Max at salvaging points out of a bad race car. I think you notice it a lot more with Perez when the car is not. So I could see that for sure. Yeah, I think Perez will have a pretty rough weekend too. I think Baku was just a one-off. All right, my second one is a driver. I think that leaving Singapore, Lando will have made up at the least 12 points on Max in the championship. Okay. I think he's going to take a big old chunk out of him this weekend, because I think Lando's going to win. I think he's going to bounce back. And bounce back. He had a bad quality, but a good race from last week. But so I wouldn't really call it a bounce back. And then Max will fall on his face and lead the weekend all pissed. So,
Lando's hoping for a Verstappen DNF.
Yeah, you never know. We could see 26 points taken out. Lando winning fastest lap. Max not in the points.
Oh no, it's not gonna. He's only gonna get second. Right.
Maybe.
But he'll get the fastest lap. So 19 points.
Yeah,
19 points is max.
It's possible. Which I I also didn't really realize because I don't look. I don't pay attention to like look when I looked ahead. I didn't really notice this, but we still have 3 sprint races left. So I'm like, that's actually that makes to me that puts a lot different perspective on the drivers' championship.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, it seemed like when people were talking about it a few races ago, like when he was 70 points behind, that no one was mentioning that there was 3 sprint races. Well, I mean, that's a lot more points.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, you could make an argument that Leclerc is still in the fight for a championship. He's only 19 points behind Norris.
Oscar too. But
you're stretching.
He's going to need a miracle for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
at every race.
Because I think that
But mathematically, can't discard him.
Yeah, no, I mean that's true. But
it would be good to see a 3-horse race for the championship. Because Max he's just hanging on at this point. And Lando and Charles are coming fast. So
who would you rather see? I'm pretty sure
drivers.
Yeah.
Charles.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Is that the Ferrari fan in you, or do you prefer? If you took the teams away, which out of the drivers, which one would you prefer?
Probably Charles.
Yeah.
Still. Yeah.
Man, that's a tough one for me. I really like both of them. But I have to be my wife's British, so maybe I have to be a little. I don't know. I would have to say that if Leclerc won it, it'd be well deserved.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying it's not for Lando, but Lando should almost already have the championship lead.
Mm-hmm.
Arguably, maybe some say he should already have it. That team, it's been so many, the way they've mishandled things and so many, shooting themselves in the foot. It's almost like, no, I think you don't deserve to win this driver's championship.
I think Charles has been, Mr. Consistency throughout the year, not just, once he realized like, hey, we're still in this, I think every race he's been there.
Other than that, he just had one little short span where it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
His qualifying was off, and he had, they also screwed him on strategies, like in a couple races, like I think Silverstone and Hungary, but
he's definitely made more with less.
Again, I think kind of touching back probably to our very first episode when we were covering the first half of the season and drivers, and it's like now you see why. I think now it's like you can see, oh, that's why it's Leclerc over Sainz.
Mm-hmm.
Because Leclerc's just got that extra in him, that I just don't think Sainz has.
Mm-hmm.
Charles has that kind of that top, Max Lewis, kind of speed.
Yeah. Built better for a championship.
Yeah. But he's also somebody where if I'm going to knock on Russell, then we need to knock on Leclerc a little. He needs to clean up some of his mistakes. He's somebody that's always trying to push it. And
mm-hmm.
It's kind of like with Antonelli, he crashed because he had too much speed carrying into the corner. And so it's kind of like almost like a good problem to have. It's like you want to be able to, hey, slow down versus, hey, you need to speed up. So
it's easier to make him slow down than it is to speed him up.
Yeah. I feel like, and Leclerc is one of those drivers. I can't imagine he'll ever race anywhere else. That'd be, I can't
think if a few driver championships don't go his way, he's going to be like,
yeah, maybe. Yeah. It's possible. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like he's so ingrained into Ferrari.
Oh yeah. But look at Michael, Schumacher.
Yeah.
You know, everybody thought he was Ferrari till he was done, but
Well, at least with Michael, you know, he's German for one, so he wasn't like he was tied to the country as much as Leclerc, you know. And then
well,
I
he's
think
not.
he was kind of on the tail end of his career. So I guess maybe more like
Mhm.
prime Leclerc racing somewhere else.
No, yeah.
You know, where Michael, that wasn't really prime Michael, you know, so I don't know.
I think with the new team management, Charles, when it comes to time to resign, just
Yeah.
let's keep this going. You know?
I mean, yeah, they're always right there. I mean, he's going to be pissed off though, you know, come 2026 when Lewis Hamilton shows him how to win a championship. And then he sails off into the sunset and he says, "Now it's your team, my son.
I would like.
I
to
taught
see,
you how."
I would like to see those two fight for a championship. You know,
Oh,
a driver's championship.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they get along a little better than Lewis and Nico.
I'm sure they will. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. We'll see. But that's all we got for today. So
Wait, I got to get my second prediction.
Wow, we didn't do that. Unbelievable.
I'm gonna go with team, and this is similar to yours, but I'm calling both Williams in the points.
Okay, so kind of copying me. Gotcha. All right. I mean, you know, it's like, hey, can I see your homework? Yeah, but don't make it look exactly like we copied it. Oh man. Well,
you could technically, yours could still come true if
yours doesn't.
Well, yeah, you could still have one driver in there, and because Perez, he's gonna be out of the points. We already know that.
Yeah. So what? Like if Max DNFs, Perez is not in the points. Albon gets one. Yeah, it works. It's outscoring them.
I need both. So actually, you know,
I'll give it. Yeah, I give it to you.
Mine's the better one.
I could see. I think it's going to be the reason why I felt like it was very bold too is because this is going to be a tough race for Colapinto. I mean, this track's hard, you know. So we'll see what happens.
He got a little taste in Azerbaijan. He's ready to go.
Might qualify.
Argentina. He's used to the heat. You know,
I think he gets cold down there.
I mean,
I don't know, but depends on what part of Argentina. I guess
summertime.
Yeah,
you know?
We'll see.
I'm sure he's used to the humidity too. So,
well, he's young. You know, he can take it. You know, these guys, they're ready. All right. Well, it was already. I didn't check. Is there calling for any weather?
There's going to be rain Sunday during the day, which will probably. They're saying it'll clear up, but it's going to clean the track.
Yeah,
so
it'll be interesting. That'll make things
any kind of rubber they're going to be laying down. It's
because there's a lot of track evolution. There's a lot of track evolution at this track. So,
and I think they open that like how they do in Monaco. As soon as the practice qualifying race is done, they open it back up to regular street traffic. You know, so that's
yeah. Well,
we'll see.
Yeah. Maybe we'll spice things up a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a clear race.
Maybe they'll have to start on intermediates or something.
That'd be good.
All right. Well, that's it. So hope you guys enjoy the race. Hope it's a good one for you. Have a good weekend. And if you like the video, hit the like button on YouTube. If you're new, subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts at, leave us a 5-star review. Continue helping us build this channel. We're trying to grow this podcast and bring more awareness on the race, and F1 to America. So help us out in doing that. We really appreciate it. But give us some feedback, and we'll see you guys next week for the review of the Singapore Grand Prix.
Go Charles.
Go Norris. See you guys later.